Twisters! I was prepared. But that's not fair because I've actually heard the song and heard that, who sings this, Rhino?
Luke Combs.
Yes. And that actually, you know, we've talked a lot here about soundtracks. And this is the first soundtrack that I've heard so many good things about that people are like, you should go and check out the soundtrack to Twisters. So with that kind of lead in, I mean, you know, it's at least going to have some good things. But it's also, I'm sure, you know, Tanya's here to talk movies here on good things. I'm sure it's action-packed, so the sound probably is. The music probably to it is also really good.
It is. I was thinking while I was watching it, you know, this is like a country music fan's dream soundtrack. Lots of great music throughout it. But the Ingrid girl that sang the national anthem, she's not on the soundtrack. So they dodged a bullet with that one.
I thought you were supposed to say, don't hold it against it. I'll be like, oh, no.
Yeah. But, so I did get to see it. And this is exactly what a summer movie should be. You totally forget the real world for 2 hours and just you're sitting there enjoying the ride. And pardon the pun, this one has a lot of twists in it. So it's not as predictable as I kind of thought it might be.
So it doesn't follow the original verbatim?
No, it's a totally different movie. And, you know, I kept thinking, okay, starts off, you see a college girl working on trying to get a grant. And she has a theory and she's trying to work it out and make it happen where she can make tornadoes disappear by putting some chemicals into the tornado. It helps it just kind of die.
That'd be awesome.
And so in the middle, I mean, that's where it starts off, is her and her gang, you know, doing this. And it's so intense. So you don't want to be late for this one, because to me, that one was as riveting and scary as the build up to the big twister at the end. You know, they've got them throughout, but beginning and the end were the big parts. But yes, I was on the edge of my seat, just super engaged. But she goes on. I mean, we see that happen. I don't want to spoil anything. And then we see her continue her work. And kind of similar to the first Twister, there's a hotshot guy. You've got two different teams of storm chasers out there, and they're trying to, you know, to have the biggest break first. Mm-hmm. And anyway, she, like, you don't know who's the good guy and who's the bad guy in all of this, and she doesn't either. And so we're kind of learning with her what's going on. But Glenn Powell plays he's like a YouTuber star, storm chaser, and he and his team just do some really wild and crazy things. She and her team have funding, but they're a little more conservative. But they all have the same goal of trying to try to make tornadoes less of a threat to people. But, you know, you've got a little bit of romance, you've got the action, you've got the great soundtrack. To my knowledge, none of the characters tied back to the first film. There was one scene where they showed a picture, and I thought maybe I saw Helen Hunt in that picture, but I'm not 100% sure.
Was there a cow?
There was not a cow. Well, there are a lot of farm animals, so I guess, yes, there was a cow, but not as prominently featured. Mm-hmm. So
I don't want to ruin the other. I want to ask you all. So are there any classic, like, repeat scenes? Because there were so many just iconic. Like, I could sit here and spout off a few. And I have just recently rewatched Twisters, not because of this movie, because I think it's back on all of your cable network because of this movie. And so, but you have all of those, like, iconic, just staple scenes. Did you feel like there was any throwback ones?
I do. There's one. I mean, in this one, they definitely, you remember the end of Twister, how they
used the leather
straps and were inside of the tornado. Like, that has stuck with me until today. I'll never forget that. So they had something similar to that. But they did it multiple times, but it was kind of cool, you know, because I kind of felt like I was in the tornado too. I did not see it in IMAX though. and I still enjoyed it and felt like I was right there. So I can't imagine if you have the opportunity to see it in IMAX, I would think that it would be definitely worth it.
Somebody texts in, "We got cows," because that's from because that was from the first Twister. That and the running through the house. I mean, there's just so many that.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of that kind of stuff. They've got big vehicles being thrown at them. They're dodging stuff. Yeah. It's all kinds of crazy stuff. And of course, they have these huge, big, built for this kind of condition type vehicles in this one. So they have more bells and whistles than the original.
It's PG-13. But even as I was mentioning to you, Tanya, even the advertisements say PG-13 and probably not suitable for kids under because of, and I don't know the word they use, but I assumed it was for just, it may freak you out.
Yeah, it's just really intense and scary. I mean, there was no language that I really can remember. I mean, nothing that you normally would think of in a PG-13 movie.
Did they push
it was just completely all of the peril.
So knowing your kid, if your kid is already scared of thunderstorms, this is not the movie to take them to. No,
definitely not.
Yeah, good to know.
I mean, it definitely rebirthed my fear.
I still, I want to see it. I will see it.
Yeah.
I never got to see Twister in the theaters, but, I'm also a scaredy cat, but I know this isn't like it's not a scary movie, but I think I'll go see it in the theaters. My husband wants to see it, so.
Yeah, I think it's definitely a good one to go see in the theater. But yeah, I mean, I thought they did a great job casting. There's, like I said, there's some surprises. I don't want to spoil anything, but I definitely enjoyed it. Now, as I was leaving the theater, I was trying to decide, okay, which one did I like better? It's really been so long since I saw the first one. I rewatched pieces of it to get ready to watch the new one. And I think they're both stand on their own. I mean, I think they're both good and kind of not like Roadhouse where you just have a major missing piece. This one, I feel like did a great job.
Speaking of horror flicks, I hear there's a good one out there if people want to see it. It's doing well. Long Legs.
Long Legs. Yeah, it's like people.
What's wrong with people?
I know. I know. I think because it's one of those that maybe. I don't know.
Is there a new one of the week? Is there a new horror flick?
There's actually not any new ones this weekend. Twisters is the big one. There is a new Netflix movie called Find Me Falling on with Harry Connick Jr. And he's kind of a washed up rock star that goes and buys this house in Cyprus. And he doesn't know, but he got a great deal on it. And the reason why is because it's on a cliff that people come to jump.
That's terrible.
Yes, it is. and he had only been there a couple of days before he discovers the first person and
Google it before you buy it.
And anyway, I watched it. It's one of those. It's a great Netflix movie. It's a great sit at home and chill kind of movie. But it's it's a little predictable.
I would think so. I would also say a tearjerker a little bit.
Yes, there were a couple of very tearjerker. Now, and speaking of that, I actually wiped tears from my eyes a couple of times while I was watching Twisters.
Stop! I can't do that.
I'm not kidding. I mean, it's pretty intense.
At least we've been warned.
Yes.
We have absolutely been warned. Well, I mean, I guess there's all the other things that are still out there if you want to hang on to it.
Yeah, there's still, Despicable Me still ringing in number one. It has not gotten close to Inside Out 2, but there's still time. And of course, Long Legs is number 2, $30 million. It's crazy.
Why are folks why this one?
I know. Probably good acting. I mean, it's got good people in it. And then A Quiet Place Day 1 is still out there. And in some theaters this weekend, they're doing a double feature of that with Bad Boys for Life. So if you've missed those and want to see both of them, this weekend might be a good chance to do that. And then next weekend is the biggie, Deadpool and Wolverine.
So all these other movies need to just buckle up and go on and get their money in.
It will be on probably more than half of the screens at your theater. So if you want to go, if there's anything that's been out a couple of weeks you haven't gotten a chance to see, you probably want to take care of that this weekend.
Is Kevin Costner's movie still out there? What's the name of it? I forgot.
Yes.
It's terrible. What's the name of it, Rhino?
It's not
Horizon.
Horizon.
Yes.
I was like,
it's still out there, but it is also digitally available, so you can watch it from home now.
Gotcha.
So a lot of people, I think, are already doing that.
all righty. Well, there you go. Thank you, Tanya. But you guys stick with us. We got more for you coming up next.